Holiday's Hunter was banned as we get ready for the first game. Weapon Rogue, not a deck that we see that often, but when it does show up, ends up being very powerful against certain slow strategies. So let's get straight into it as game one is upon us and we take a look at the mulligans.
It's actually the first time we've actually seen Swine Tushank in the opening hand with Weapon Rogue in a long while. And when you have Swine Tushank, it opens up so many mulligan possibilities. You get to keep Deadly Poison. Mwah! Delicious. Just delicious amounts of damage oozing out of this deck. I love Weapon Rogue. I don't know what it is about the deck. I've hated decks similar to that in the past. Well, okay. Well, all right, we're back in it.
All right.
Just in case you forgot who was playing.
Weapon Rogue, TJ, one of TJ's favorite decks right now. It's because it feels oddly satisfying to just be smashing your opponent's face in turn after turn. And it feels kind of unstoppable unless they have weapon destruction. Even then, you have some other ways for outs. And yeah, like it's just one of those decks where it really captures power fantasy well in card games. Having this like ridiculously strong weapon that grows stronger and stronger. And there's some serious drawbacks to it as well. You know, only be able to attack one thing. Small taunts can really provide a big issue with it. You don't really fight for board control as much as you would like in other rogue decks, and therefore you have to kind of play a very delicate balance of how often you're addressing the board versus being aggressive. Look at Luna playing the Deadly Poison immediately with the preparation. I mean, you don't want to give Demon Hunter a lot of time. She's already starting the clock.
Yeah, I expected, honestly, just attack with the dagger and then just equip the Swine Tushank for the 3 mana that turn. But again, she just wants to kill as quick as possible. It's not about like damage, like efficiency or, you know, mana efficiency, trying to like eke as much value out of your cards as possible. Just equip a weapon, get as much damage on the weapon as fast as you possibly can, and just start smacking.
Damage good.
Damage good. No damage bad. She's got damage.
Is that a secret passage off the...
Looking for Silverleaf Poison. Cutting Class, good. Other one's not so good, but looking for a poison. Boom! Nailed it! Nailed it! Oh!
Now we'll continue. Just gains 4 more damage through a durability charge. Keeps the Swindle because that was picked up. Everything is looking mighty fine for Luna Love. And now Killinallday does pick up a Morg Artificer with Talented Arcanists.
Oh, we got a race on our hands. Never mind. This one is
race is kind of a generous term to use, TJ here. It's implying that Killinallday has gotten to the starting line. Which I guess with the Fell Screamer he has, but he's still waiting for the word go. He hasn't really started taking his first steps, and while Luna is looking to close out the final stages of this race. 3 cards played, so the Plunderer does not get the activation, but this is a 2-turn lethal setup. Good lord, this is a ton of damage. Doesn't exactly have the damage right now because she has 7 on the weapon. The Wicked Stab will only deal 4. But she has a lot of ways that she could potentially end. Okay, Killin finds the Skull of Gul'dan. Is there a possibility that we survive?
Whoa! Wait a second! Whoa!
Yes.
Wait!
All right.
Il'gynoth, Moarg, Talented Arcanist, Ethereal Aug Merchant. That's
so
24 plus Chaos Strike. He is lethal next turn.
Yeah, he also, the Fell Screamer can attack this turn as well. There's a lot of ways that Killin can get there. The question is, does he die next turn? This is a very fast ramp up. Now Killin is sprinting and catching up to Luna. Comes down to this last turn.
I mean, Luna needs a point of damage. A single point of damage. I'm talking Yoink, Sinister Strike, Deadly Poison, Paralytic Poison, this Wand Maker, Secret Passage.
Okay, that's not it.
That's not it. Any point of damage. Single point. Paralytic Poison.
Single point of damage it is.
Oh, he was so close. He was one turn off.
So close. Really well done by Killen. Honestly, it felt like Luna was just going to smash Killen without any resistance, but we know that in half a turn later, Killinallday was ready to sneak up from a come-from-behind victory. Very tightly contested game one, even though Luna looked like she was blistering speeds out of the gate. So that's going to be a rogue win. Demon Hunter sits on the back seat here, and then Killen has his rogue and his priest remaining. If you look at the way Weapon Rogue is even positioned, TJ, up against priest and rogue, I mean, this is one of the situations where an unusual deck might be able to come out of nowhere and really punish it, because on paper it's got some pretty good matchups against Control Priest and the rogue that Killen has.
Yeah, the issue comes with the ooze in Killinallday's priest list. I said in the intro, it feels like it takes that matchup from unfavored to favored just with a single tech inclusion, because you just need to find it once. Right, and they won't have the damage. They won't have the poisons to be able to get it. So Killinallday is going to move to Miracle Rogue though first. It does seem like he's worried about a potential counter Q into the priest.
Okay.
Or knows that he needs to win an unfavorable at some point, so might as well throw it out right now. But we'll see. Miracle Rogue versus Weapon Rogue is another matchup that's, quite like hit or miss. It all depends on kind of that opening hand for Miracle Rogue. They have to get on the board fast and, force awkward turns, force the Weapon Rogue to play board control in the early game. And, I mean, that's an Octobot in the opening hand. That's a great start.
All right, well, let's see if Killen's Miracle Rogue can start turning things around, as we have seen some pretty fast games come out of the Weapon Rogue, but Miracle Rogue is also capable of doing the exact same thing. I'm looking at Luna's hand right now and thinking, what is worth keeping if you're not going to just full mulligan for, having a weapon, for example? So it looks like Luna is going to go for that full mulligan, see what she can pick up. No weapon, no shank. And no pickup. Okay, so everything does feel like Killen has some breathing room, but we shall see. The moment Luna picks up a weapon, things can get pretty intense. She does have Silverleaf Poison as well for some of that card draw.
Many options. Choose soon.
She's thinking about coining out this Wand Maker.
I suppose. I mean, the turn 2 play is almost always dagger in this instance.
Right. Oh, yoink. Okay. Potentially being impactful there. Prep. Okay, so yoink. What are the potential implications of that right now?
Just
not good enough in Luna's
fine.
mind.
Yeah.
And this gets you that card draw anyways, right? Like Silverleaf Poison, I think a lot of people, this is a really good heads up call from Luna. A lot of people are enamored by the idea that you get Silverleaf Poison onto your specific shank and you get these poisons to stack durability, but you just get the card draw going.
So I think you're supposed to go Foxy Swindle first, because if you attack first, then you're getting 1 mana discount just on the Foxy, because the Swindle will be free no matter what. But with the Swindle, you're getting a 2 mana discount. Well, in this case, it didn't work out because he hit Shadow Step. But most of the time, it's a benefit. So
yes,
I like this.
Killen can go full tempo. Guardian Og Merchant and Colton Neophyte right now available to win back the board and then make it very difficult for Luna to deal with the board ever and now start to race. Right? This is a situation where as Weapon Rogue, you feel like you're too far behind to try to win back the board by swinging everything separately. Whoa, finds a shank.
Yeah, well,
now it's time to do some math. TJ. How far is Luna from setting up any kind of 3, 4, 5 turn lethal? And then on the flip side, how much can she afford to leave up Killen's damage on board turn after turn?
Well, the big thing here is she does have Silverleaf Poison still equipped on this dagger. So I'm going to think if she wants to potentially get rid of that to just get the Swine Tusk Shank damage rolling. But either way, I think the Shank is going into a minion, or the weapon's going into a minion. So, like, card draw seems decent. Okay, guess not.
Too soon.
All right, well, this doesn't look like an entirely promising hand right now, but Killen does have access to Secret Passage if he wants to in the future turns.
Big fan of this.
I like that
damage.
Shadow Step. Yeah, exactly. Recognizing that this is a situation that's pretty bad for Luna if she's not able to get things up quickly. Finds another Shadow Step opportunity. And that just makes it impossible for Luna to get anything done. Well, not actually impossible, because she will have one playable card that she could play. Like, she can't choose to go for all these poisons. That is brutal.
Juan Thief.
Juan Thief.
Too soon.
And Juan Thief finds more card draw. This is looking tough for Luna. Oh, even tossing in the prize plunger. Maximum board presence.
Yeah, I like this.
I mean, this is 14 power represented onto the board.
Yep.
3, 5, 7, 8, 11. Yes. And plus the fact that you have additional card draw. Wow. So, I mean, if you're Luna, you gotta play the Paralytic Poison. I think you just gotta go for it. This is bad, though. The good news for Luna, she has cards like Cloak of Shadows. Can maybe buy her a little bit of time.
Another Cold Neophyte.
But no sports.
Can't play it. Yeah.
Yeah. How
What if you
huge
kill
was
off-
it, by the way? Getting that second Shadow Step, because Luna will be able to play 2 poisons, maybe get a little bit extra stuff going. I like this. Preemptively killing off his own minions so he can improve his board space opportunities. Wicked Stab gets upgraded. Luna needs to play Cloak of Shadows this turn. But what does she do on top of that? She has Wicked Stab and the Center Strike. That's 7 damage. Paralytic Poison attack is another 4, so it's 11. We're still 12 short. If we get 4 attack the following turn, we have 8. It's coming down to, like, Luna has to find a second Cloak of Shadows here, I think. This prep, Swindo would have to find that. And then she would have to stack it over 2 turns, and then hope that she would draw the remaining damage there. Put in class.
Okay. There's still the opportunity to pick up another Cloak of Shadows.
Right. This joint could be huge too, giving a little bit extra damage, like the Hunter Hero Power. Oh, okay, steady shot. Oh, no way. Okay, so, like we said, 7 damage in hand. Plus the 4, so we're still a little bit short. But the magic number has been cut down to 4, and this second Cult Neophyte is devastating. Killen, by using the Brave Freeze preemptively, put himself in a situation where Luna has to draw. I don't even know if she can do it anymore. It would have to be the second Cloak of Shadows right here.
It'd have to be exactly the second Cloak of Shadows right here, yep.
She can draw for it. The cutting class.
It would have to be with cutting class 2. And then it wouldn't even be setting up lethal, right? Or would it? Because that would be all of her mana. She would push 4 extra damage, and then the next turn... Actually, it would be a 2-turn lethal setup. It would be
2-turn lethal setup. 1 out of 8 for the 1 remaining Cloak of Shadows. 12.5% if Luna wants to win from here.
Coerce and cutting class.
Okay. Oh, I mean, I really thought the Coerce was... I saw a 3-mana spell. I thought it might have been the Cloak of Shadows. Luna has to draw 1 more time. And it was! Showed up just a little bit too late. The Cult Neophyte paid off in spades. Well done to killinallday. Huge plays coming out of his Miracle Rogue. Otherwise, that would have been lights out. And how many times have we seen rogues feel like they sabotage themselves because they don't have the ability to play that card because there's just too many weenies on the board. And we have a tied series on our hands.
Yeah, and remaining decks are Rush Warrior for Luna, which I think that's what Killen wanted to save the Priest for. Because if you look at how the matchup's going to pan out, if Killen took this win, which he was banking on, Luna will very likely queue the Warrior into Rogue because it's the best matchup, and then Killen gets to counter with Priest. And then Priest will just have to beat Rush Warrior, which is a good matchup, and then Mage, which... At least it's something, right? It's the best pan out that he could have hoped for with how things went with him losing the first game with the OTK Demon Hunter. So Rogue choice pays off despite having like that Ooze tech. Ooze can still be good against Rush Warrior. And as expected, Luna will move over to that Rush Warrior. Pretty standard build. 10 Trashers in there, which, you know, looking back at the Rush Warrior builds that we saw in Masters Tour Orgrimmar, most of them looked like this, and that was the tournament where we saw a ton of Rush Warrior because it wasn't being banned and it was a very consistent deck for Conquest. So, good matchup against Rogue. Not unwinnable for Rogue, but it is, I think, just straight up Rush Warrior's best matchup based on stats.
All right, well, Rush Warrior, I mean, it is a deck really designed to basically take down Rogue for the most part. Like, Rogue's like, well, here's all these small little minions that can gain incremental advantage. And Rush Warrior's like, well, what if I just answered that and also stack more power on the board than you and rinse and repeat every single turn? It's very difficult to get anything going. So I'm anticipating Luna to feel very strong in this matchup. And even though that Weapon Rogue got stalled right in its tracks, feels like she's still in a pretty good spot to be able to take this one. But at the same time, Killen, I mean, that's some tight play coming out of him, right? Back-to-back games where he's given himself outs. One game where it didn't pay off, and one game where it paid off very handsomely. So let's go ahead and go and get number 2 and see if he can repeat that in another unfavorable matchup.
Nothing crazy. You're still looking for the same stuff overall. In the early game, looking for that Octobot. So going to be a full mull here. Try and find it. Finds double Foxy Fraud. Oh, I saw it in Prison Gnarg.
They cannot stop my work.
Okay. Prison Gnarg to start things off very strong. Get the Fiery War Axe going. Challenge anything that Killen plays. Part of what makes Rogue really strong is the seemingly ability to just keep stacking those small advantages. And even if you do have powerful ways to get back onto the board, you only can attack one time. And that's what Rogue really starts to navigate around painfully for their opponents, which is getting all these small little minions on multiple fronts, hitting for 2 and 3 per turn. Swindle picks up. Decent stuff. Killinallday gonna be met with this Crab Rider immediately. take it down. And, you know, the Crab Rider nerfs, it's pretty interesting because I think a lot of people's first instinct was, okay, how are they going to nerf Crab Rider? Are they going to completely put it into the ground? It just feels like an unplayable Murloc. But it does still seem like it has its applications. But given the fact that it doesn't maintain that Wind Fury because it's just a battle cry now, I think it's a completely appropriate use of it and makes a lot of sense of what that card's supposed to be doing, as opposed to simply being played on curve and then threatening your opponents with lethal in a few turns, which a lot of paladins do. Luna picks up the conditioning that's going to be useful for later on. Does have the option of using it right now, but I think that kind of at the current pace of things, it's also considering about what to do with all these weapon swings. Sword Eater, another Imprisoned Canard. This is kind of awkward.
Yeah, a little bit awkward. But it's fine, right? Bumper cars with conditioning is just another way to fight for the board, and it does feel like Luna's kind of mid to late and be able to explode onto the board each and every turn. Whereas Killin is just trying to, you know, piece together reasonably sized boards that are also generating resources. Okay, Dorb. Probably Secret Passage? Yeah.
Yeah, I was thinking about Backstab just so that it gives more opportunities to remove certain things because we have like field contact. Field contact makes me feel like I'm less hurting on additional resources, but I guess that makes a lot of sense too. Secret Passage is just so strong at what it does.
Ooh, this is...
Oh, this feels really bad.
Yep.
Nothing to do from Luna. Oh boy, okay. Another Secret Passage.
Yeah, he's just trying to find some type of proactive play. Octobot?
Octobot.
But Swindle, because if you like Octo, I guess Octobot could be good just playing it by itself.
There's a way you can get punished on 5.
No.
Right? There's no like Anchor Man or anything.
So many options.
Yeah.
There is a Tent Trasher.
Okay, yeah, Tent Trasher. That's the only one.
Wouldn't Tent Trasher have been played the previous turn because it would have costed 4 mana?
I believe it would have, yes.
So I think the Octobot makes sense here.
Oh,
Not many ways to punish.
Well, this could be a punish. Luna could go double conditioning Dark Moon Rider.
Oh, you're right.
But that's a very, very, very specific scenario.
Yeah, true. True. Oh, I mean, this ends up being the nuts versus the Octobot, though.
Yeah.
I think the play that Killin did was correct. I mean, it's not really every day where you see the double conditioning on 5 like that into a Dark Moon Rider. That's a very narrow set of conditions. Now, without the discount, Killin can't really pop off with the field contact the way he wanted to. It's so tragic.
Also, now this Cold Neophyte is kind of stranded because there's really not that many spells left. There's Athletic Studies and Stage Dive, but both conditioning's used. So it's not really doing that much.
Yeah, I can understand his initial instinct is to look for resources elsewhere. I was kind of thinking if maybe we want to take it a little bit slower and use Wicked Stab even, but Killin might be just digging for more answers. This is... this is just humorous and painful at this point at the same time. Like, he knows that there's another Dark Moon Rider at 5/5, so this Vision Octobot number 2 is not going to do anything.
Yeah.
Question, do you Shadow Step your Kazakis? I think you do. All right. Now, the Lesser Golem.
3.
Yeah, now that's a good Golem.
And Shadow Step. Okay, so Killen's got a way to deal with big minions that are thrown onto the board and can look again with Kazakus as well in the same turn.
That is indeed a lot of resources, and I think from Luna's perspective, she knows that that possibility exists. What's the best way to go about it? Kind of like the Sword Eater in this spot, given that you also are, have an overabundance of weapon swings. That is 6 more damage. That is a 6/9. Nice.
For a good time.
Okay, so Killen can kill off 2 of these minions with the Lesser Golem, the Poisonous, and the Fire Blue. So I think they'll have to feel contact as well. Oh no! It hits the worst target. The Gnarg takes the hit. One more time. It's part of the challenge, of course, of these golems. They're so good, but they're not reliable. Very good use of the Wicked Stab to guarantee the 5/4 does not go down. Oh, that's Sword Eater. Now, Luna can just press in here. Can kill off the Poisonous, can Warmaw challenge. That's a 15. That is gigante. That is so big. There's not even a word in English that can describe the size of that Warmaw Challenger right now in my mind.
Nope. Luna is all in, but this stuff is so big.
Kazakus?
Kazakus, do you go for 5 and Poisonous deal damage? Or do you go for 1 and then try and find something with Wand Thief, like a Cone of Cold?
Yeah, I'm trying to think if there's secret passage combinations here from Killen as well. It's really tough.
Sufficient is sufficient.
That's an upgrade. Probably.
Initiating overdrive.
And now it's
Okay.
Poisonous. Needs Cone of Cold. Cone of Cold!
Cone of Cold!
Oh!
That's so big. That is so big. Now, how does Killen go about this in the next turn, right? Looking at this Guardian Aug Merchant coming down.
Probably.
There's still like a ton of stats on the board. That's like the big problem right now. Luna picks up. Another Sword Eater.
Another Sword Eater. I mean, it's still just more damage and another minion that's in the way.
And what's really scary is that now Killen's at the ever-important life threshold of 8 health. So a battle cry from an Alexstrasza potentially end things. Luna's thinking about this 1 damage as well, right? The Sword Eater does represent another Fiery War Axe, or another 3/2 sword. Technically not a War Axe. Kill needs to deal with this board right now.
Okay, what's the Golem?
Poisonous,
Poisonous
freeze, or
and
random.
freeze. Okay, so could go off with field contact here. Can he stay alive with just Alexstrasza? No.
Nope, because you can't deal with the Sword Eater.
Yeah.
Let's go on. Working magic.
Is it free something big? Oh, the 5/10!
Okay. What was the last card played? It was a Sword Eater. It's not good enough.
Needs Brain Freeze.
Henwu?
Okay.
Brain Freeze? Here's a problem. Luna's on a couple of draws to win as well. This is all just stalling. Good though. I mean, stalling is better than dying.
This is still lethal being represented on board. Oh no, he can actually kill the first Sword Eater.
I'm almost out of
Oh no, another Brain Freeze?
Another Brain Freeze.
Oh, Prize Plunder?
Out of cards. Going to fatigue. 3 cards versus 18 left in the deck. That is the power of Rogue in Standard right now. And it picks up Stage Dive.
Okay.
A rush minion. A rush minion gets an extra attack.
Play Master Samurai!
Master Samuro! Oh no! Killing All Day is going to get the majority of his board wiped. Also, not discount, damage being dealt by ETC God of Metal, which means Luna has a 2-turn lethal set up for next turn. This is really bad news for Killing All Day.
Is there something that Killin can do with Blade Master Samuro from Vanessa Van Cleef?
I mean, the problem is Killin needs to survive a swing with the sword next turn.
Yeah.
That is the biggest issue, right? The Rogue does not heal. The only way to do it is Alex Straza. If you do, you're dead anyways because of the amount of pressure on board.
Alex Straza face, your own face.
Brain freeze.
Brain freeze, and you could take off ETC as well.
Okay, you're living.
That's 9 damage.
only
being
9.
represented on board.
Stage dive again.
Okay.
As a tent trasher. Then you push damage. Definitely one more Challenger goes face. I guess the question would becomes, how does Luna use these attacks if she wants to kill off the Alex Straza? She does. Doesn't want to give any opportunity for combos.
Yep, so as lethal represented on board with just Warmaw Challenger, and Killin's almost out of cards.
Yeah, oh, I mean, Jandis. Oh, also Vanessa Van Cleef gives a tent trasher back over to Killing All Day.
Okay.
Killen's also at fatigue, by the way. Something to keep in mind is that he can't really afford to take any damage, otherwise he may accelerate his fatigue plan scenario.
His last card is Tenwu. So that could be the Jandis.
No one crosses the uncrowned.
But, I mean, at this point, Luna is Alex Straza, maybe even Troublemaker, Ringmaster Watley even, because she has the time from winning the game. There's no weapons left.
Another tent trasher. Sure.
Okay.
At 1 damage. Doesn't matter just yet because the fatigue goes 1 to 2, so it's 3 damage at the moment. Goes back to when Luna chose to trade with that ETC instead of push that damage. Will that matter? Lar and Lily Pad Lurker. Lar's very hard to deal with. I would say that 4 is important break point for Troublemaker. Troublemaker, I mean, Luna might not find any good cards here. She still might just end up coming up empty with the next 2 turns. And this is a lot of power being represented.
Yeah, there are a ton of dead draws off the top for Luna. Crab Rider, not great. Parade Leader, not great. Double Playmaker, not great. Bumper Card, not great.
Come, friend. Let's see what you've got.
Needs to trade and make board space. Does so. Can't deal with it. Looking for taunt. Finds taunt.
It doesn't really change that much, but it makes it so... Oh, what was that? Rakara!
7, 9, 10, 16, 26. She's dead. Let me count again. Oh, the Rakara's rush. 7, 10, 20, 23, 24. Man, Crick doesn't have any card draw. Did I miscount, TJ?
I don't think so.
Oh my goodness! It comes down to one draw, one turn, one damage.
There's not even a point to play the Mancrick because the board's going to be full no matter what, or he wins anyway, and the Ogre will just get burned. So it's Alexstrasza or Troublemaker or bust. Nothing else.
Wow. Cold Neophyte, I mean, it helps disrupt the spells. If she draws it, a Troublemaker off the
Troublemaker! Oh, jeez! I can't handle it! I can't handle it! Oh!
Here we go!
Oh!
I really wish we had Luna camp for this because it'd be so fun. This is where you let the rope burn down. Oh! Yeah! Oh! Killing all day finds a way to survive. Game number 3. So close. It came in for 1 HP at moments on both sides for 1 extra HP or 1 extra damage could have been pushed. I mean, when you talk about the game of itches, TJ, it doesn't get any closer than that. 1 HP on both sides is what determined it. Let's take a look at that replay. Back and forth we go. Killing all day, surviving the onslaught of the double conditioning play. Luna just hoping that she can draw any playable card. And Killing drew his entire deck. At like turn 9, right? Like he was decked out, or turn 8, excuse me. He was decked out at that point with secret passages. And then this big swing. This is the point where I kind of talked about. You saw that after the Samurai, she had the choice of trading into a 1/1 or going face with that 1 damage. That's the kind of thing where, I wasn't sure that ended up being a deciding factor. It kind of was. Easy for us to say. Obviously it's one of these things where millions of times easier for us to be on this side, given how everything panned out. But, and Luna might even say that she didn't regret that attack or, trade, for example. But small stuff like that, which makes a huge difference sometimes.
Yeah, well, it left her Sword Eater dead on board, which was damage that she would have ended up needing. It was only Brain Freeze that punishes that play, whereas any other draw that plays correct. So I don't think she'll regret it at the end of the day.
I don't think so either.
Come down to 1 damage, but she could have won on the spot with that trade if Brain Freeze wasn't picked up. But that's a big win for Killing all day because that's an unfavorable matchup. And now Luna's got to win the last 2 games with the Spell Mage, and it's going to be versus Miracle Rogue and Priest if she's able to take out the Miracle Rogue first off. So a tough series still remaining. Miracle Rogue versus Mage. It's a matchup that we've seen a ton now because both of these decks have been they've been through a lot, honestly. Multiple balance changes and still going strong. Still 2 of the most powerful decks in the current metagame, and quite the even matchup, to be honest.
Yes, that is the case here as we go into game number 4. And I don't want people to have this impression that Luna did anything. I'm not saying that I think that it was incorrect. I just think that's one of those situations where, based on the pan out, ends up being quite unfortunate for her. Not to mention the fact that that was supposed to be a matchup that is good for the warrior there. So Miracle Rogue always has a chance, especially when you have the Efficient Octobot doing crazy stuff, and we've seen Killing all day opening once more with it. Now, Luna has also her equivalent with the Canner's Flow and the Arcane Intellect, 3 keeping even the Combustion as well. So this is gonna be a fast one. It looks like very explosive.
Yeah, one way or another, it's going to end quite quickly. Both players' hands are just fire.
Very much so. You got a lot of the card draw to back up. I like that pick of the Blood Mage Dinos for that reason. We've talked about it a handful of times. And we'll keep mentioning it until we're blue in the face or Incanted Flow gets nerfed out of existence, which is that if you have the card draw to back it up, you're in a good spot. Now, Killen going immediately for the Octobot discount, does not want it to potentially be answered by devolving missiles.
Yep, Mage, multiple ways to answer Octobot on 3, combustion and devolving missiles, both of which Luna just happens to have in hand. So I like this. Killin gets to curve Kazakis next turn, and then can actually go field contact on 4.
What? That is nuts. The second encounters flow. Killinallday can strike back though. Kazakis ain't no slouch. Finding, I guess, a 1-mana golem is definitely on the table here. Given that he has field contact and another efficient Octobot, it can get really slow or really fast. And for the card draw, it does look like he's chosen the 5-cost golem though. Given the option of hitting things like the 2 random minions or the spell damage effect. Yeah, it's a tough spot here because when you look at what Luna's doing, she could do like a ton of powerful plays back to back, and it's going to be really tricky for Luna to, or rather for Killin to stabilize against a mage board that can come out of nowhere and explode with a ton of damage. And go ahead and combustion to clear off the board. I like this just to ensure that Killin doesn't get free damage and make it difficult for him to leverage his board for extra damage push.
Ooh. At this point, you just have to take the risk and go for it.
Efficient is sufficient.
I guess the answer is no. Like field contact, Foxy Fraud, try and hit a combo card. You can always shadow step in the midst there.
Right. Maybe in his mind, if if the Octobot didn't get devolving missile, which is in Luna's hand, maybe it absorbs like a fireball. I don't hate it. I think he has to take a little bit more of an optimistic line given how insanely strong Luna's start has been with double encounters flow and card draw to back it up. Ring toss can also come out here for Luna.
What to do?
As a way to start off.
Just go Worm Reaver devolving as well. Set up a pretty powerful board, but I think Disruption at this point is the name of the game.
Yeah, dissolving missiles is going to be crushing. No effect from the Octobot activated. No way for Killin to get that back. And the Fallen Hero, I guess, from Luna just to establish some board presence is fine here.
A second chance.
Secrets picked up were Mirror Entity and Netherwind Portal.
It's quiet. Too quiet.
Field contact. Starting things off. Killinallday needs to draw something big. Has Foxy Fraud, called Neophyte, and Shadow Steps. Can kill out the field contact with his weapon. Alright. Not the best. Jeez.
You're stepping the cold Neophyte here.
I suppose so. But the question is, do you play it?
Probably because he still has Foxy Fraud
My shield for Argus.
activation.
Oh, actually, as a small aside, if that 4-mana cost minion was a taunt minion, that could have been a huge punish potentially on Killin not being able to kill off the Fallen Hero. Not that it would have been a huge difference, but it could have been a difference. Look at that. The cards cost exactly how they should be. Sorry, Mage. You have to play a fair turn.
And it is an awkward one, actually. I mean, the Arcane Intellect being the big one here. Upside for Luna is that she has the ability to trade off on some of these minions on the board. Just leaving them up would be quite bad. Fireball, that's going face no matter what.
Yeah.
Might as well cash it in. Another flow.
I don't think you even need it at this point, right? It feels like you'd rather find like Ice Barrier to like stay alive or Snap Freeze to address the board. I mean, like, what does the third flow really offer you that you don't really have already? Like, your limitation is actually the amount of cards in your hand.
Oh!
Wow.
It draws a card!
That's right, the field contact. I forgot the field contact works for Mage as well. And a refreshing spring water. This is silly. This is so powerful right now. Killin, can you find a way to stabilize from here? Jandis Barov comes to mind here as the first option that I'm looking at. If there was, I kind of forgot the Greater Golem effects was chosen from Kazakis.
Stealth and something. I'm not sure what the other one is. Stealth and deal 3 damage. So it's board presence. So is Jandis, but you lose damage on the board, and it would also be susceptible to combustion.
Wow.
To really anything.
Well, Fireball comes into the hand. Good Fireball and then Refreshing Spring Water, gain back those mana crystals and end with the Flame Strike. I mean, you can also do the same exact thing with Arcane Intellect. I think it's actually cleaner in mana because you go down to 4 after your Arcane Intellect, and then Refreshing Spring Water brings you to 5. Then you can Flame Strike afterwards.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, that looks good to me. I don't know if there's any like 1 mana card that you would pick up that could change how you'd want to go about it. Oh. Hexus Blast. Just no fear, really. Like, yeah, Flame Strike could actually, now that I'm like looking at it, the Flame Strike could be good, but you could also just kill your opponent. That works out very well a lot of the times. Font of Power. Fireball, I mean, there's no way for Killen to win anyways.
Yeah. It's just one of those games.
Yeah, it is certainly one of those games. We're going to game 5. There's not really much for Killen to do here. And I'm looking at it a little bit more in depth, and I don't see any series of outs here. I will happily stand corrected if that's the case, but I don't know.
Something real.
Well, if you really get the battle cry off the Shield Maiden, maybe. Killen's going to concede. That's going to do it for game 4. We're going to go to the final game where Killen has Hunter, or rather, is Hunter banned, so it's down to a Priest versus Mage, which was set up by Luna, knew about this possibility, going to take a matchup where, you know, we saw it previously. The Mage can completely bowl over the Priest. Now, angered by the fact that Luna has that double and cannon slow start, I mean, it was just going to be tough in the beginning. And then Killen, while he had a great hand, I mean, just couldn't keep up with the pace that Mage is putting out a bunch of damaging cards. Yeah,
and I mean, when double and Canner's Flow Star is hard for pretty much any deck to beat, right? I even think Killen had a really great start for what Miracle Rogue's trying to do. Had Octobot, was able to get on the board early. It was more than you could ask for from a Rogue start. Just wasn't able to get it done at the end because of the double flow. Now gets to move to the Priest, as you mentioned. He was playing the Flesh Giant variation. Also has double Ogremancer, which could help in this matchup. Acidic Swampoo's not doing too much, and doesn't have Sethix, which can sometimes like find you that additional like healing generation. One caveat to this matchup: Luna not playing Deck of Lunacy, so it is just the burn plan that she's on to win this game, which still reliable, right? It's just a little more difficult when you're talking about a control priest that has access to as much healing as Killen's pack, and he's even running a Desperate Prayer in the deck. So we'll see if that's enough to save off the pressure. I think it'd be a pretty easy matchup for Killen if Luna's not able to hit the flows.
Yeah, without the flows, the Mage plays at a reasonable pace that you can totally outmatch as time goes on. With the flows, it just becomes that much harder each passing turn, accruing additional mana that your opponent can't keep up with. Luna understands the lines. Full mulligan. Hard draw. Reasonable. Okay, Draconic Studies. Now, how important is it that you pick an early dragon from Killing All Day side?
I don't think it's super crucial to pick like Crimson Hothead. I think this matchup's going to go on long enough for Mage Scribe to get a good amount of value going. It's only the difference of 2 mana anyway, so.
Right. Okay. Steward of Scrolls on Luna's side as well. So, to both of these players, just accruing the resources. No early game mechanics flow for Luna yet. Still has the opportunity to pick it up on 2. Does find other forms of powerful plays in the form in getting minions or acquiring resources. All right, finds some decent legendary minions, maybe. I don't know. I really don't think we're gonna get damage
No.
to get the activation, but from Kill inside, he's just happy to see no encounters flow. Now it feels like it can be a reasonable game 5 that's not just a one-sided beating.
This is interesting too. Flash Heal is actually pretty good, but you do have to worry about minions as well. And because if you never have a board, then the mage could just play minions and then get minion damage in and not have to worry much about like the healing of the spells because it'll be made up for. So he picks Auspicious Spirits just to try and have something to fight for board with.
Right. Now Killen gonna play the Auspicious Spirits to get board presence. Needs to find some way to challenge a Luminary. Luminary incidentally ends up being like a form of mana ramp. Now you can play Steward of Scrolls for 2 mana instead of the 4. You can play Varden for 2 mana as well. That's entirely reasonable.
Oh,
Is that Il'gynoth?
Yeah. Oh man, that's funny.
Il'gynoth off the Auspicious Spirits. Wasn't really expecting that one.
I mean, Il'gynoth can net some damage.
That's right. Apotheosis. Just kill him. Apotheosis Hysteria.
My calculations, you need to chill out.
That's funny. Wait, not only is that funny, that actually might be a good play. Apotheosis gives Killing All Day enough stats to kill off the majority of the board, and it can also deal best case scenario, it can actually 12 damage to your opponent. Yo, is it actually the play?
Wait, what's the play?
The Apotheosis Hysteria. I'll deal.
Well, he'd only be able to Hysteria one of the minions. So
No, he Hysteria is his own minion, his Il'gynoth.
you can't Hysteria your own minions.
Oh no, you're right. Sorry, I'm getting too creative now that I'm thinking about the lifesteal stuff. You right, TJ. My bad. So in that case, you have to just clear off here. And then Luna is just going to take advantage of this board here and just immediately find a way to punish, right? The Apexis Blast off the top.
Yeah, and you probably have... The question is, where's the Apexis Blast go? Does it go face? I don't know. The volley missile's probably looking for... Oh, what is that? That's its standard?
Yeah, but...
It can't attack. It's a humongous
Can't attack,
Razor Leaf.
right? So is that a problem? Unless you find focus
That's-
still to silence it?
That's its only text. Can't attack. That's it. No battle cry, no nothing.
Generate it.
Sure, yeah. He doesn't have Sethics.
Honored Mage Scribe. But you can't play Raise It unless the Murloc Tinyfin dies.
What is a loon's will?
I don't know. That sounds like we're getting a little bit too creative. Does it instead just buff up the Murloc and try to trade into a minion? We're starting to get to the point where the mage is overwhelming with minion pressure, and you have to mitigate that much damage, otherwise the burn's going to finish it.
Like part ways with the more expensive Apotheosis now and just trade over the Luminary.
Magic is not a toy.
Okay.
Sure. I mean, this is his best board presence. It plays around any potential opportunities to abuse Mask of Cthulhu. I don't think there's a way for Luna to have that, but I mean, it's just his most amount of presence on board here too. For Luna's side, Rundorb is going to look for a potential way to answer this.
Everything's just so expensive. Oh my gosh. Playing without a Cancel is rough.
Yeah, it's
Not nearly as fun.
I wonder.
It's funny because the Humongous Razor Leaf is just anti-mask tech. You want to attack into this and kill it? Sure, can't attack anyway.
Sure, yeah, you're right. It actually ends up being pretty good against specifically the Mask of Cthulhu as well. Then it can double trade into the Onyx. Gonna use the Rundorb again anyways. Deck of Lunacy is also something that's really interesting in particular. But Luna recognizes that what's more important is her hand's very expensive already. And not to mention that the deck game plan, as we've seen in previous series, wants to utilize burn anyways to finish the game. Okay, now Killen, from his perspective, picks a palm reading.
I wonder.
He's going to test for Oasis Ally first.
Yeah, so from Killen's perspective, he needs to stabilize. He's actually just taking direct damage from minions now, and it's starting to get to the range where he could just die to fireballs.
Yeah. So I guess this will test for Oasis Ally, and if it's not, then it also puts him in a race dead pool for Counterspell. Okay, that's nice. Now Killen can go Apotheosis, see what's in the box. Running out of time a little bit.
He's okay. He's good. Ogremancer is very problematic as well.
Yeah.
All working out pretty nicely so far. It's a huge life swing, going up to 21. No Flame Strike in hand for Luna.
And everything's just so expensive. Can't even start with Refreshing Spring Water because she's at 10 cards. I mean, and also just the Ogremancer's there. Looks like she's just going to have to Apexis Blast the Ogremancer and hope that there's something. Oh!
Oh, right. Oh. Wow. Trampling Rhino. When it rains, it pours. Killen finds Hysteria. Okay, so could we do anything there? It does seem like there is potential board clear here with Hysteria, Shadow Word Death, and other cards. So maybe palm reading to start things off to see if you can find ways to make that easier.
It's funny. How often do you say focus wills the nuts here?
Insight, okay. Insight to see if you can pick up a useful card. Corrupts with that attack, or rather with the Hysteria. Okay, 2 minions survive on the other side. That's not great.
That's nearly the worst outcome outside of attacking the Humongous Razor Leaf twice. And Luna's gotten so much minion damage in. It's going to be hard to get the rest, though, but I think this is about the best you could ask for a Mask turn. And then try and set up for Refreshing Spring Water to end the game.
Yeah. This looks like Luna can just rip the Mask of Cthulhu, the Refreshing Spring Water, to make it so it's mana efficient. In back 4, so she has 7 exactly, and now she can rip it. Doesn't have direct damage from hand afterwards, from what I can tell. So that's slightly annoying from her side. I wonder if that encourages her to do something else, like play another minion instead, or even just like dig for stuff. You could use Primordial Studies, you could play Sage. Could also play the Ring Tosses. They are corrupted because the Refreshing Spring Water got increased. Having a way to disrupt your opponent's spells to make sure they don't get like big swings back into the game. Sure. Astromancer. And Kill's not getting anything.
Nope, this is not looking good.
This Humongous Razor Leaf, TJ.
It's a problem.
What does it do?
It's been a problem.
How much damage is this? This is 6 on the board. Plus the Mask of Cthulhu does 11. Plus a Hero Power does 12. So 12 plus 6 is 18. There are ways we can manipulate that. Devolving Missiles, perhaps? No, it's a little bit awkward. Combustion. I'm not seeing a guaranteed lethal here.
No.
It's possible still. Okay, trying to attack. Could end up using a spell and then combustion as well. Nice. And then drawing additional cards. This is very nice, pretty clean from Luna. Fireball costing a little bit too much to play this turn, but it's okay. Can double Incanter's Flow and discount the rest of the deck. Samuro with the Apotheosis. Is it too late?
It's never too late. We can start with Shadowward Ruin, which is castable even if there's none. Now, Blade Master Charmer Apotheosis hope that it's Netherwind Portal.
Yeah, or
Mirror
Entity. You're that.
He tested for Mirror Entity, so it is Netherwind Portal. Now it gets a necessary amount of healing, but when your hand is double Flesh Giant, that's not what you want necessarily against Mage.
Yeah. This is a spot where, you know, Luna's in a very dominant position. Now it's starting to pick up the cheap spells. Finds 2 fireballs. In fact, incidentally, Killinallday is positioned for a second combustion to deal a lot of damage to his board. So a slight positioning situation here for Killin, but I don't think it's that big of a loss considering that what does he lose? The Humongous Razor Leaf? Whatever.
Okay, Wallmaker something! Looking for Renew, Draconic Studies. Flash Heal, you can play both Flesh Giants? And go up to 20? But that's his hand!
I mean, he's all in.
It's a priest with an empty hand.
It's not something that you see pretty often. Evolving Missiles. We're hoping that it reduces the amount of aggression coming out.
I mean, it does.
Yeah, it does. Sage comes down, drawing 5 cards. Jeez. Finds Astromancer. Alright, Apex's Blast to try and kill off the Priest. Finds the ability to win back the board here, and there's really not much that Killen can do. Take a look at the Devolving Missiles once more. See if there's anything remaining. Oh, that's funny. Just targeting the Reliquary 3 times. I think Killen has just been completely gassed out. Well done by Luna. Well played all series long. Zyrella isn't enough in this spot. Maybe if Killen had the flash heal from the previous turn, almost certainly that would have been the case. But you can't fault him for using it in that spot because he wanted to make sure to not die. And I think that's it, right?
That's it.
Damage on the board, the 2 fireballs. That's 22.
Yep. Well, no. It could attack into the Zyrella.
Okay, true.
The sociologist. Right. If it went face, also, it was a 50-50. Yeah. But even then, Killen would need miracle draws off the top each and every turn. So he didn't quite get there. Well done by Luna. It looked kind of rough after she lost the Rush Warrior versus Rogue, which is a favorable matchup, but Mage doing Mage things, and sometimes that's all it takes. And I think that, you know, using minions to pressure early on, focusing very heavily on that, despite having like reasonable spell-based game plans, your deck is built in a way where it's just more efficient if you draw on Canner's Flow, but the minions end up being more efficient against Priest when you don't. So that will stop Killen's run. He was looking for a good run this week because he was trying to dig himself out of relegation, but he will still be, I believe, down in that bottom part. Tied with Language Hacker for like 14th. So they're both going to be at 5 points at the end of the week, which means that they're both on the bubble for potential relegation, which means they need some big weeks moving up. And Luna, if she's only